Hello, Carmen here. Today I'm going to be answering another question that I get a lot. And I know even for people who don't ask the question, this is definitely something they're wondering about. So we're going to be talking about how much of a time commitment myofunctional therapy is. So I obviously can only talk about my therapy programs, but I'm also pretty sure that no matter what therapist that you work with, we all have our programs set up to be successful for you. So there's definitely that to take into consideration. We don't set something up so that it's impossible for you. Okay. We want you to be able to work it into your schedule. So I'm going to talk about my program. So in my programs, no matter what type of therapy I'm doing or where I'm doing therapy, I teach active exercises and timed exercises. So an active and a passive exercise, okay? So when somebody is asking me about their time commitment, how long it's going to take, with those active exercises, those are going to be the exercises that I teach, like, I might teach peanut butter rub 2 minutes 3 times a day, or that it's something that's going to be a particular amount of minutes a certain number of times a day, okay? Generally 2 or 3 times a day, unless it's post-frenectomy, and then I have you do it a lot more. But the whole reason behind that is because I want you to be moving your tongue. So on these active exercises, these exercises are going to be the ones that definitely require more intention from you. Now, when you first learn these exercises, you're going to have to make sure that you're doing them right, because that's one of the things I constantly am talking about with my clients, that I don't want you to just check the box just to get your exercises done. I want you to be doing them with passion and purpose, okay? So the active exercises, they're going to require you to spend some time with a hand mirror, in the bathroom looking in the mirror. You have to be able to make sure that you're doing them correctly, okay? And so this obviously requires you to carve out the time for that. Now, some of those exercises, once you get it figured out and you know what you're doing and you know that you're doing it correct and you know that your form is correct, then you can do them away from home. So my favorite is in the car. I have a lot of clients who do exercises in their car, but the problem is you can't only do the exercises that you have time for in your car, okay? So that has been a challenge recently for some of my clients, is they only work on the things that they can do in their car. So you have to carve out that time for you to be successful. You have to carve out that time to make sure you're doing them right. This is a lot like going to the gym. You can't do certain things that you're not focused on and intentional with, okay? So that's active exercises. You got to make sure you're doing it right. Then you can do them on your commute. You can do them in the car. You can do them at work, that kind of stuff. Next, the second type of exercise I teach is a passive exercise. So I call these multitasking exercises. These are habit correction exercises. So while you will do them up to 60 minutes a day, I want you to do other things. So whether that's laundry, dishes, reading a book, making dinner, that kind of stuff, anything that you can really do with your mouth closed, tongue up, tongue in the proper position, and nasal breathing, you're not talking, you're not eating, that kind of stuff, then you can do that. So sometimes that passive exercise is a reward for people, and sometimes it's a burden. So you have to work that in. So going back to answering the question on how much of a time commitment myofunctional therapy is, it depends really on what the assignment is for those active exercises and how much time you need to spend doing that. So for example, if I assign it, 2 minutes 3 times a day, clearly there's 6 minutes that you're going to be doing that. And generally in my programs, you're doing maybe 4 to 6 exercises. So it's not a huge time commitment. Where the biggest concern or the biggest amount of time comes in is when you're doing that passive exercise, because we work up to 60 minutes and then you're working on that whole thing, like I said, is for behavior modification. We're trying to retain habits, and you can do other things, but you still have to make sure that it's done, okay? So the biggest takeaway here for this is in my programs and in my coaching relationship with my clients, I try and make things work real life for you. So if you're considering myofunctional therapy, whether it's with me or anybody else, and you just feel like you're too busy, you can't take that commitment, remember, it's just a small portion of time in the big picture of your day. And finding a way to work that in is really important, but it's also not that big of a deal. I always tell my clients, I'm trying to set you up for real life. When you're done working with me, you're not necessarily done with myofunctional therapy. So it's really important that you realistically be able to do this. And so an example of that is, if I work with kiddos in my mini Myo program, and I give them an assignment for exercises 3 times a day, one of the first things I hear from parents is, that's really hard for us to do on weekdays. And so I always say, okay, that's fine. So if I teach you or I assign something 2 minutes 3 times a day, perhaps maybe to make it more real life for you, you do it 3 minutes twice a day. The biggest thing is that you're doing it quality. Okay, with that passion purpose that I was talking about. So don't let a big time commitment be a hang up for you. It really is a small portion of time, and a lot of my clients are really surprised by the time they get into therapy how easy they can assimilate it into their day. So that's all I have today. I'll see you next week where I will answer another hot question. Bye for now.